Hello dear student, today we are going to learn about the central nervous system. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. Brain is a delicate part of the body. Brain controls the function of other part of the body. It's the main controlling unit of nervous system. Brain is a soft and delicate part. That's why it's very important to keep it safe. Naturally, the brain is located inside a hard cavity called cranial cavity. On the other hand, spinal cord is also very soft and elongated part coming out from the brain and reach to the vertebral column. The spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. So both are very important part of the central nervous system. One is protected by a cavity called cranial cavity and one is protected by a vertebral column. Brain weighs from 1300 to 1400 grams. My dear student, the brain is divided into two hemispheres. One is right hemisphere and another is left hemisphere. Right hemisphere controls the left side of the body and left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. Right hemisphere of the brain is responsible for holistic thinking, is also responsible for creativity, art and music. Left side of the brain is responsible for analytical thinking. Left hemisphere is also responsible for logical thinking. Left hemisphere is also responsible for language, science and mathematics. If child's left hemisphere is developed well, then the child will be good in logical thinking, analytical thinking. The child will be good in the language, child will be good in science subject and mathematics also. If right hemisphere developed well, so the person will be expert in the field of creativity, arts and music. This is the concept of a brain. Brain is divided into two hemispheres. Largest portion of the brain is called cerebrum and smallest portion of the brain is called cerebellum. Cerebrum consists of two cerebral hemispheres. That's I told before also. Right hemisphere and left hemisphere. These hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of fibers called nerve tracts. The cerebrum occupies 2/3 of the brain. The cerebrum, the surface of the cerebrum has deep, irregular ridges and grooves which are called convolutions. Convolutions increase the surface area of the cerebrum. This is all about the cerebrum. Now let's see the cerebellum. So cerebellum is also called the small part of the brain. Cerebrum is located at the back of the cranial cavity. Its surface shows the shallow grooves instead of deep convolutions. Third part of the brain is medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata is the hindmost part of the brain. There are two structures called pyramids on the upper side of the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata continues downwards as the spinal cord. Medulla oblongata will begin from the small brain and elongate as the spinal cord. The next part of the central nervous system is spinal cord, which is protected within the vertebral column. Spinal cord is the part of central nervous system which is held within the vertebral column. The spinal cord is slightly thick but gradually tapers towards the end. There is a thread-like fiber structure at its end, which is called the filum terminale. The most important function of cerebrum is to control the voluntary movements. My dear student, you was already studied the concept of voluntary movements and involuntary movements in 8th standard. Here, I am not going to explain you what is the difference between voluntary and involuntary. Our point is that the main function of cerebrum is to control the voluntary movement of the body. The concentration, planning, decision making, memory, intelligence, intellectual activities, these all are under the control of cerebrum. If person lose the concentration, it means that there is a defect in the part of cerebrum. If person have a decision making capacity, it shows that the cerebrum developed well. My dear students, the function of cerebellum, that is a small brain. The main function of cerebellum is coordination of voluntary movements. Coordination of. Second thing is that the cerebellum is also responsible to maintain the body balance. Yes, to maintain the body balance. You may observe that if a person start to take alcohol, after drinking the alcohol, the person is not able to balance the body, not able to walk. The person is not able to coordinate. The person is not able to talk properly. Okay, this is the lack of coordination. It means that alcohol affects the cerebellum, a small brain. Medulla oblongata, the function of medulla oblongata is to control the involuntary activities. So which are the involuntary activities in our body? Yes, many activities are there. Involuntary activities like beating of heartbeats, that is not under our control. That's why we are calling it involuntary activities. Second example of involuntary activities is blood circulation. According to our wish, we cannot control the circulation of blood. If it is there, then in the world, no one can suffer from the high blood pressure or low blood pressure. If heartbeat is under our control or according to our wish, then in the world no one can suffer from the heart attack or cardiac arrest. The main function of a spinal cord is the conduction of impulses from skin towards the brain, and again the conduction of impulses from brain to the muscles and glands. Not only to this, but also the spinal cord function as center of coordination of reflex action. So this is all about the central nervous system. Hello dear children, let's begin the next topic, that is peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system consists of the nerves which are originating from the central nervous system. These nerves connect with all the body parts with each other. There are two types of nerves in peripheral nervous system, that is the cranial nerve and spinal nerve. My dear student, cranial nerves are the nerves which are originating from the brain, and spinal nerves are the nerves which are originating from the spinal cord. There are 12 pairs of nerves which are originating from the spinal cord. That's why it is said to be the spinal nerves. The nerves which are originating from the spinal cord, it is said to be the spinal nerves. So how many nerves are originating from the spinal cord? Very good. 12 pairs of nerves originating from the spinal cord. That's why it is said to be the spinal nerves. Okay. Now let's see the second part, that is cranial nerves. So cranial nerves are the nerves which are originating from the brain, because brain is located inside the cranial cavity. That's why here we can use the word cranial nerves. The nerves which are originating from the brain are said to be the cranial nerves. How many pairs of nerves are originating from the brain? So 31 pairs of nerves are originating from the brain and spread out to the other part of the body. Cranial nerves are associated with head, thorax and abdomen. The spinal nerves are associated with arms, legs, skin and some other part of the body. This is all about the peripheral nervous system. Now we are going to learn about the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system consists of the nerves of involuntary organs. My dear students, which are the involuntary organs present in our body? Yes. So, involuntary organs which are present in our body are heart, lungs and stomach. What do you mean by involuntary organs? Involuntary organs are the organs which cannot work according to our wills. That's why it is said to be the involuntary organs, and the movements which is done by the involuntary organs are called involuntary movements. Involuntary movements are the movements which are not under our control. On the basis of this, a new concept is released or originated, that is reflex action. So now we are going to learn about the reflex action. What do you mean by reflex action? Yes, reflex action is the immediate and involuntary response given to a stimulus from the environment is called a reflex action, immediate action. For example, sometimes we react to an incident without any thinking on our part or control over the reaction. This is the response given to a certain stimulus from the surroundings. In such a situation, proper control and coordination is achieved even without intervention of the brain. Without the involvement of the brain, the decision and control as well as coordination is achieved. This is called reflex action. I hope so. It is clear to all, dear children. Let's begin the chemical coordination. Chemical coordination is brought out with the help of chemical substances released in the body. These chemical substances are called hormones. The concept of hormone you was studied in last year. Dear children, hormones are the chemical substances which is released inside the body with the help of a specific glands. Endocrine glands are responsible to produce or to synthesize the hormones in the body on proper time and proper proportion. It is also very important that hormones are secreted only in the required quantity. There is a special mechanism which controls the quantity and timing of hormone secretion. For example, blood glucose level increased. At that time, there is a secretion of hormones called insulin by the pancreas. This is all about the chemical control. Thank you very much, my dear student.